Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going to be recapping episode 80 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role. This was fun, so let's get into it. We start in the Fey realm before Nanamori's final trial, the Trial of Trust. Nanamori tells the party again what the goal is: to get 3 branches that are hidden within the woods somewhere at 3 hidden altars and bring them back to the well in the center. But 2 of them party members will be replaced by doppelgangers, and if 1 branch is destroyed, they lose. Nanamori fills the area with fog to hide the replacements. Before the area fills up completely, Laudna says that she thinks this is counterproductive. Nanamori tells her to figure out who to trust, and that is the whole point. The cards are then handed out to the cast, and they are losing their minds. The cards tell them who they are, whether they are themselves or the doppelgangers, and what their goals are, and where some traps are. Even Matt doesn't know who is who. Matt brings out a map. It looks pretty good, and I will be showing it in this because it'll be a little bit easier to describe how things go. And as the fog pulls away, the party is placed around the well. A quick note, the doppelgangers are like perfect copies of whoever they replaced. They can use their abilities and use their spells. This way they can't be like, use your spells or whatever to sort of figure out who is the doppelganger. They are to move around the map and find the altars, and it's time to roll initiative. Orm rolls a 25, Fern an 18, Ashton a 13, Imogen an 11, FCG and Chetney a 7, but FCG goes first because the rollies was better for them, and Laudna rolled a 3. The party are already in absolute chaos, overanalyzing everything that everyone else does. Orm is first. He climbs on top of one of the ruins and takes a look around for one of the altars. Perception check of 20. The fog makes it a little bit hard to see, and he doesn't see any altars quite yet. Fern is now up. She moves toward the bottom left corner of the map. She's looking for an altar. Perception check of 18. She doesn't see anything like an altar, but there are tons of overgrowth throughout the entire map. Matt tells the party anything on the map can be investigated, and they should be creative. She moves towards some of the brambles, and as she gets close, its vines shoot out and try to tangle her up. The thorns dig into her skin, and she takes 16 damage and is restrained by it. The party wonder if the real Fern would have known not to go near the bramble. Ashton is up. They jump over the well towards Fern and land next to her. He pulls her free and then rages as he does. He gets his time rage, which is weird because the real Ashton would never get time rage. He must be a doppelganger. Strength check is 17. He's able to pull Fern free. Ashton suggests the party stick together until they find the first branch, and then after that they split up, because then they'll know what they're looking for. Orm says that's super reasonable in a very sarcastic way. FCG agrees with Ashton, however. Chenny doesn't seem to like that idea, as he lets out a mild sigh. Laudna asks if Imogen still loves her. Imogen says she has already told her she does, and this makes Imogen feel like maybe Laudna is the doppelganger. Imogen is up. Orm asks where the 2 real people are, the 2 people who were replaced by the doppelgangers. Obviously, there's no answer to this. Imogen then uses a Misty Step to the left side of the map and searches underneath a tree there to find an altar. But with a perception check of 6, she looks around and just sees that there's a bunch of thick roots at the bottom of this tree, and there's a bit of green and purple moss on it. There is no altar here. FCG is up. They move to Fern and heal her, like they always do. Imogen accuses FCG of healing a little too early. FCG then takes a quick look around to see if they can see any magical shimmers. With an investigation check of 15, they see the swaying trees above and see that some of the vines have a translucent look to them when looking at them at certain angles. Imogen informs the others of this. As they look around, a lot of the plant life is like this. Chet is up. He is still in his werewolf form. He clicks his boots of speed together and heads towards a ruined doorway in the opposite direction of everyone else. A bramble vine goes to attack him as he gets near it, but it misses him. He then tells the others that he's not a doppelganger and is going to join them, and then jumps back over towards the party. As he's running back, a patch of flowers spray acid at him, and he takes 23 damage from it. He warns the others of purple vines and purple spores. Then they are very dangerous. He walks to the other side of the ruins of where the large group is. As he does, vines go to attack him again, but they miss. He doesn't see anything here. Laudna is up. She brings out Pate and asks if he is the real Pate. He doesn't know. She asks if she is real. He doesn't know. She tells him to keep an eye out on the party and see if they're acting weird. Laudna then spider climbs up to the top of some of the ruins nearby and then uses Quicken Spell to cast Wither and Bloom. She casts it on some of the foliage nearby, revealing an altar holding a white branch. It's near Chetney, and she informs him of this. Orym is up. He asks Fern what was thrown at him back in Byrodin, back during EXU. She says a pie, but it in fact was axes. He says he still doesn't think that she is the doppelganger, even though she was wrong. Orym then hops down off the ruins and then towards the other group. The party is unsure how deep the doppelganger's mind reading went, so they don't know if it's just surface level memories or if they have all of the memories. Fern is up. She looks at a different archway inside the ruins and casts Scorching Ray on the vines there. She hits one of her 3 Scorching Rays, burning the vines and the brambles, setting it on fire, leaving the archway in a blaze. She says she didn't think that through, and FCG says that it was a mistake, in a very sarcastic way. Ashen is up. He says he's going to make a move and asks if everyone's okay with it. Fern thinks it's weird for him to ask for permission. Ashen then uses Hyper Rage and jumps over the ruin wall and lands next to the branch. The branches have 3 HP each. Ashen then heads back toward the pool, jumping over top the ruin he just did. He reaches the well and tries to toss the branch in, but it bounces off an invisible barrier, meaning they need all 3 first before they can just start dropping them in. He picks it back up and then backs up. As he backs up, 3 purple buds burst out of nowhere, and Ashen makes the save, but takes 12 damage from it, and the branch takes 1. That branch is now down to 2 HP. Ashen then stands near the well away from any buds. Imogen is up. She climbs up a wall and casts Detect Thoughts, and she hears a loud static buzz in her mind. Matt says trust comes the old-fashioned way, doing that would be a little too easy. She then hops off the wall and goes next to Fern. She sees a bramble wall near her. She then asks Fern if she's a doppelganger. Fern says no, and then asks if Imogen is a doppelganger. Imogen says no, and Imogen insight checks Fern. Matt tells Ashley to text him what she is so he can roll for her to see if it's going to be deception or persuasion. Imogen rolls a 8 on the insight check. So at this moment, she believes her. FCG is up. They move toward Fern and Imogen. They look to see if there's any animals nearby. They see a bunch of squirrel-like creatures in the trees above, and they can see what looks to be some sort of nest. They cast Speak with Animals, and they ask the squirrels which plants they wouldn't jump on. The squirrel looks down on them and opens its face vertically to reveal a mouth, which is disgusting, and says to avoid the walls with the bramble walls, and some of the trees are a little bit mean. FCG asks for the squirrel's name, and its name is Kenny, and FCG thanks him for the information. Chetney is now up. He runs to the edge of the right side of the map. He touches the ground and uses Grim Psychometry on it. A history check of 21. He sees elves hiding important things in these ruins once upon a time. After him, Laudna sees something drop down from a tree. It looks like some sort of hunched 1 foot tall fey creature. And with insane speed, he runs up to Ashton, or it runs up to Ashton, and goes for the branch. Contested strength check. Ashton rolls a 10, and the fey creature takes the branch out of his hands and runs off, again, incredibly fast. He jumps and hides behind some ruins. It's now Laudna's turn. She sends Pate toward the creature that just took the branch, and she looks through his eyes and sees him behind a wall. She tells Chetney, and Pate points out the creature as well. Laudna then jumps to the next ruin wall and walks over to the right side of the map. She can't see the little creature outside of Pate's vision. Pate dashes over and grabs the creature to hold on and make sure that it's still within reach. She tells him to hold on and to scream until Chetney gets there. Laudna then Wither and Blooms on another patch of area, killing it, making more of the area safe, but there is no altar. Orym is up. Orym runs through the fire that Fern had made and then runs through the doorway to get to the creature that took the branch. Orym runs past them and uses the grasping vine from the seedling sword to steal the branch back. He then asks Laudna what dead animal she wore to the ball back in the beginning of the campaign, and she says that she had a dead ferret, but it was actually a fox. Fern is up. She uses shaped stone to get rid of a wall in front of her, opening up some more space. However, it doesn't move the bush that was on the wall, so it is still there. A owl flies out of the bush. Its jaw opens up and a tentacle comes out of its mouth. It then hits FCG and drags them away towards the nearest bramble. Laudna, looking at FCG, tries to see if FCG is not made of metal, as if they are made of flesh and are squishy when it's wrapped around by the tentacle. With a perception check of 20, she can't tell. Ashen is up. They run over to FCG and tries to smash the tentacle. They hit and deal 19 damage, forcing the tentacle to retract, saving FCG. Ashen then runs over and around a different wall. He moves near a bramble and tries to attack it, but it tries to attack him, and misses, and he attacks it back in retaliation, dealing 28 damage to it, and then he keeps on moving. He looks around but doesn't see any altars at this time. Imogen is up. She casts Fly on herself and she flies toward the owl, and then casts Shock and Grasp using Quicken Spell. She hits, dealing 15 damage, tearing the owl apart. She then looks around a bit and sees nothing, but has a good view from up here, so she's going to keep looking. FCG is up. They cast Enhance Ability on themselves and give themselves Owl's Wisdom. FCG asks Fern if they can trust her. She says yes, and an insight check of 16. She seems trustful. FCG now mildly trusts Fern. FCG goes to ask Imogen something, but stops mid-conversation. Imogen asks why they didn't ask her something. FCG says that they don't trust her. She didn't look for branches and instead chose to kill the owl. Imogen says she wanted to stop it from hurting the team, and then she just also wanted to kill something while flying. FCG believes that part. Chetney is up. He asks Orym if he's got the Fey dude handled. Orym says yes. However, Chetney does end up moving over toward the Fey creature and ignites his claws and attacks him, instantly killing him. He then moves to a tree and swipes again at the base of it, trying to figure out if they are illusionary or not. Nothing really happens to the tree, and Chetney doesn't think anything is here. Laudna is up. She moves along the ruins some more, and then casts Wither and Bloom again, revealing more of the area, but there is no branch here. She then tells Pate to check if FCG is squishy. Pate flies over to FCG and dives bomb in the attempt to touch them, rolling a 14 on the attack, quote. FCG dodges a little bit and Pate bounces off them and couldn't quite tell if he was soft or not. Imogen didn't think Laudna was the doppelganger until that moment because that was a little suspect. Orym is up. He moves toward the top of the map and looks around. Investigation check and natural 20. He looks around through the bushes and finds what looks to be a thunder wasp nest and avoids it. Thank God. He then hides the branch within his armor. Fern casts Speak with Plants and asks if the ones near her are hiding the branch. The ones near her says they don't have anything, but they'll ask around. She walks to a bramble and asks the same question. He says that she looks tasty. She asks them to open up. They do, and she peeks through it. However, it closes on top of her. She is now restrained again, but she looks around anyway within this little area, and she sees nothing. Ashen is up. They go over to Fern and ask if they, themselves as a group, are okay. Fern asks if they're really talking about this now. Ashen thinks that it might actually be Fern, and then Ashen smashes the brambles, freeing her. He then walks away looking for more stuff. Ashen swings at an archway nearby to see how strong they all are, and with a single swing he destroys that part of the ruin. Imogen is up. She uses a sorcery point to inflict wounds to give it some range, and then twin spells it. She uses it on an area of plant growth, hitting both of them, and one of them is a crit, dealing 18 damage to one of the brambles nearby, destroying the plants, revealing another altar. The other bramble is destroyed, but there is no altar. Imogen grabs the branch and flies up into the air. Orym thinks that that's a bit odd. Imogen says she's trying to keep it away from Fern. Fern says that she hasn't done anything, and Ashley at this moment looks so goddamn guilty. Imogen flies toward the fire that Fern made, and now it is FCG's turn. They move toward Fern and Imogen. They tell Imogen to trust they tell Imogen, if they trust them, to drop the branch and they'll pick it up. Imogen says no because she doesn't trust FCG. FCG says it's about trust. Ashton says if FCG trusts Imogen to let her keep it. FCG asks if she's the real Imogen, and she says yes, and with an insight of 23, they get a whisper, and they feel like they can trust Imogen. FCG then misty steps to the other side of the bramble near Ashton. However, the bramble wall attacks FCG, and they get caught by it and restrained, and take 16 damage. Chetney is up. He climbs to the top of the tree he's near, and tries to grab a branch, but sees that it is an illusionary branch, and has to grab onto another one. Chetney looks around for an altar up here, and with a 17 investigation check, he feels around and he feels his hand goes through the tree, and he grabs a branch hidden within. They now have all 3 branches. Chetney jumps off the tree onto a ruin and then jumps down to the well. Chetney puts the branch into the bag of holding and waits. Laudna is up. She tells Pate to go check if FCG is fleshy or not. But he doesn't know where he is. Luckily, they hear where he is, so he goes in that general area. She looks through the eyes to see if FCG is bleeding, and a natural 20 gets Marisha a whisper. Laudna stays where she is, as she has a good line of sight on every branch. Orm is up and he runs all the way back to the well and gets going past a few vines try to attack him on the way, but luckily he doesn't get hit, and the branch takes no damage. Orm is now next to Chetney and says if he is his dad, he should really tell him. Chetney says he'll talk about that later. Fern is up. She turns and goes toward back to the well. Fern is holding an action to cast Hold Person on Chetney if he does something she doesn't like. Ashton is up. He asks if FCG is okay. FCG says go to the well. One of them definitely is going to betray them all. He makes his way toward the well, running by one of the vines to try to keep his rage going up, and isn't hit by it, but because this isn't technically an attack, it's more like a trap, the rage is dropped anyway. He gets to the well and is standing next to Fern. Ashton looks to Orm for a vibe check and gets a 6 on an insight check, so we can't really tell. Orm is hard to read. Ashton then holds a shove action for Fern if she goes to do anything that he doesn't like. Imogen is up and she flies over to the other side of the well that everyone else is standing at. She then holds out the branch waiting for the other 2 to do the same. FCG takes 34 fucking damage from the bramble and then casts divination and asks the Changebringer if Orm is the doppelganger. They see a vision of the Changebringer and she reaches out literally holding Orm out, and FCG gets a whisper himself. FCG yells out saying that they think it's Chetney who is the doppelganger. Chetney is up. He uses his nose to smell if Orm is the real Orm, and with a 16 perception check he gets a whisper. Chetney then takes out the branch and holds it over the well. Orm wonders if there are any doppelgangers at all. Laudna is up. She summons the Hound of Ill Omen and places it in between Orm and Imogen. Laudna then holds her action to cast Infestation on Orm if he does anything fucked up that she doesn't like. Orm is up and he pulls out the monocle of True Essence. True Essence, and casts Detect Magic on it and looks over the party. He sees small magical essences all over the place and all over everyone, and there is a small static of magical energy everywhere, and the branches also give off a magical essence. He gets an insight check on Fern for a 22. He then pulls out the branch and waits. Fern is up. She drops the Hold Person spell. She tells everyone it's really her, and she's not a doppelganger, so she just waits. Ashton goes to get FCG because, you know what, might as well, and he rages on the way. He attacks the bramble holding FCG. The first attack cracks the bramble a bit, and the second one destroys it, freeing FCG. Imogen is up. She waits for the other branches to be dropped. FCG is up. They heal themselves, and then they run off towards the well so they can see what everyone else is doing. They say this is a good lesson for them to trust each other, and says to just do it. Just throw the branches in the well. Chetney waits for the others. Lana drops infestation and waits, and Orm counts to 3. 1, 2, 3, and they all drop the branches into the water, and the branches grow into a single branch. The fog clears and the doppelgangers walk out of the woods. There was no doppelganger within the group. Nanomori walks out and congratulates the party and hands the ivory branch out. Imogen takes it. The fog then fills the area again, and they come to back in the bar room of the Ligament Manor. Allura sees them and says that was very strange and asks if they enjoyed their naps. It was all a dream. In front of the party on the table is the monocle, the scarf, and the branch from each of the tests. Nanomori says that they should be proud. Fern says it was fun and they really learned a lot. FCG agrees that they really learned a lot, and they have some follow-up questions for some of it. FCG asks which bits he came up with, and which did Nanomori come up with. Nana says that they came up with some of the seeds of the ideas, and then she ran with them and sort of spun in her own way. It was a collaboration. Nana tells them that the work isn't done yet, and they've only just begun the healing process, and they should take their time. Lana asks if Orm had fallen off in the second trial, would he have died in real life, as it was just a dream? At this point, they all feel the wounds that they got from the dreams, and the assumption is yes. They thank Nana for her hospitality, even though they've only been here for a few hours. Imogen asks if everyone is alright. They kinda are. Ashton says that he'll have a lot to work on, even when they're on the moon. Ashton says in light of their most recent fuck-ups, he says it could have been anyone that went off, as they are all taking time bombs. It could have been any of them to harm the party the way that he did. Orm says that he has a slightly better appreciation for them all now after what just happened. Imogen says if they can do anything to make him feel less lonely, as during the honesty portion he said he was very lonely even when he's with them all. Ashton thinks trust comes better when it's earned, and no one else in the world would have forgiven this entire group for the stuff that they've done. Orm says they need to click now. They can't be too long. Lana brings up Fern believing they might fail. She thinks that they should focus on the small things that they can do to help. She compares the group to the other powerful people that they know. Imogen says if they do this right, they shouldn't be noticed while on the moon anyway. FCG asks if she means that they are expendable, and Fern says no, they're underestimated. Allura agrees and says that the Ruby Vanguard knows the higher-ups that the party all know very well, and says that the lower profile of the party should help them a lot. She says they shouldn't go too far, but far enough to them or to get an edge over the enemy when they do the full-on scale assault. The party doesn't even have to join the attack if they don't want to, but Orm says what else would they do, wait to be rolled over? He'd rather fight, and Fern agrees. And then asks for a drink. Nana says that she'll go get them and runs off. Imogen asks how everyone would feel if she gave in to Ruidus. Orm asks what her gut is telling her will happen. She says that she doesn't know, but she trusts everyone to bring her back if she does fall to it. Ashton says to jump into that lava. FCG says to tell them that she's going to do it first, so they can all be ready for it. Lana then asks if Fern will take in the shard. Fern says that she was scared of something that was inevitable, but she wants it now. Ashton says he can't think of anyone else who would benefit from it more, and it's honestly her destiny. Fern hates that, but agrees. No better place to do it than home. Lana says that she should give herself more credit. She's not the dark version of herself, and she's not her father. Fern agrees and says that she wants to do it now. The party are kind of banged up and want to rest up first so they can be a little bit more prepared. They take a short rest and they divvy out the new magical items they got. FCG takes the branch. Imogen takes the scarf. The branch gives them a +1 to their spell attacks and increases their healing. Ashton lends Fern their fire ring, so they have a bit of a protection against the shard. And Chetney takes the monocle. Nana comes back with drinks. Fern asks if they should go outside for this. Nana asks for what, and Fern tells her that she's going to absorb the shard. Nana gets very excited and says that they should do it in the garden. They all go up. Allura does as well to be backup. They make their way up and they look out to the sky, and where they last saw Ruidus last time, it is no longer there. They go into the clearing in the garden. Fern asks Chetney to put the shard in the harness. Chetney says that he will, and FCG says they should prepare her this time instead of, just letting things happen. FCG casts Enhanced Ability and gives her Bear's Endurance. She gets advantage on con checks, not con saves, so it doesn't quite help her here. And she gets 4 extra hit points. Fern is very nervous, but Imogen says that she'll be fine. Nana watches from a distance and creatures begin to appear to watch with her, the usual suspects of the Ligament Manor. FCG asks if she needs anything. Fern takes out Mister. Imogen walks over to Ashton and holds his hand and kisses him on the cheek and says that she's sorry that he felt like he needed to hide what he was doing. Ashton says it's all right. Here's to old damage. FCG then binds to Fern. Orm takes out a potion of heroism, which gives Fern Bless and some temporary HP, but she already has temp HP, so it's just Bless for now. Fern then casts Aura of Life on herself. Lana walks away from Chetney as he pulls out the shard. Imogen hugs her so she can block her vision from it. FCG bonds with a few others to potentially steal some health from them to help Fern later. Chetney takes out the shard. Lana hears in her head, now it's the time. Imogen casts Calm Emotions on her, and Lana makes a wisdom save. She rolls a 21. Lana pushes the voice of Delilah out for a while. Chetney then jams the shard into the back of the harness, and the shard lights up the entire garden as if there was a bonfire up there. The shard is floating and rotating. It burns hot, burning Fern's back a bit for 6 damage. It begins to enter her, and it burns the inside of her. She takes more damage from this. Con save to keep Aura of Life up, and she keeps it up for now. This time it's less explosive than the last time. It's more like a slow roast. The shard dims a little bit, and Fern begins to emit some light from within. She takes more damage. FCG uses Scatter Vigor and takes 16 HP from Ashton and gives Fern 21 back. Fern loses concentration on Aura of Life. The shard is now falling apart. Fern's hair is curling back from the heat. Fern takes 25 more damage, but uses the ring to reduce that a bit. It still has 2 more charges on it. Both Fern and the shard are giving off the same glow now. Fern says that it hurts. Nana says that things that are important do hurt. Fern takes 25 more damage and reduces it again with the ring. There is 1 more charge left. FCG heals Fern with Healing Word for 8 HP. Fern feels like her heart is a star, but it hurts, but it's powerful. She takes 28 more damage and uses the ring for the last time, again reducing the HP, or the damage. Chetney uses the monocle to cast See Invisibility and see 3 watching invisible birds in the trees. He was looking to see if anyone was scrying on them. Luckily, there wasn't. The last bit of the shard breaks apart. Fern's neck is now orange-white, and her eyes are bright orange as they're glowing. Her hair is turning into a golden glow, and she is floating. She takes 25 more damage. FCG takes more of Ashton's health and heals Fern for 22. Fern sees a vision of fluttering flames, and she takes 32 more damage. FCG casts Cure Wounds at 5th level for 33 HP, and as a bonus action, they take more HP from Ashton and heals for 18 more. At this point, FCG falls into a rage. He knew this would happen. He warned the others. Chetney uses a blood curse of binding and holds FCG still. Imogen pulls FCG away from Fern with telekinesis. Imogen tries to cast Calm Emotions, but that doesn't work. This is something deeper within FCG. Orm holds an attack on FCG in case they break out. Fern can now see a landscape of fire where each flame has life, a time before, and the pain brings her back for just a moment. FCG is about to say something mean to Fern, but Nana Mori silences them with the silence spell. Fern heals for herself for 22 HP, and then she takes another 31. Fern is now floating. Her hair is now a wreath of flame. Her fingers emit a red flame that burned black. She takes more damage at this point, and Laudna casts Wither and Bloom to heal Fern again. Fern casts Cure Wounds on herself again. Fern's horns turn into a cracked molten rock, much like Ashen's new arm, and flames burst out of them. Fern takes 28 more damage. Fern casts Cure Wounds again, and Laudna casts Wither and Bloom again, healing Fern for even more. This is the last roll, but Fern is almost down. Some of the hedges burst into flames, showing the skeletons within them. Great. Standing there, left behind after the leaves gone. Fern sees the flashing of flames, her friends, and ancient history, and then everything goes black. She sees an entity massive made of just flames. It looks down at her like she's a fly, and then it looks at her like she's an equal. There is sadness in the flame, but there is also a sense of legacy. Fern takes 32 damage, and the entity embraces Fern. She's floating 20 feet in the air. Her arms are open and flames burst out of it. Fern bursts out of Fern at the top of the gardens, burning the trees away. The party all take 11 damage from this as well. Allure protects the woodland creatures. Fern is floating, flames flickering off of her. She's emitting light all around her. The fire in her fingers are a black flame. She says that she's okay and feels different. At this point, FCG breaks free and tries to attack. Orym was waiting, however, and hits, dealing 8 damage, and FCG saves the pushing attack. Orym hits again for 8 more damage, and this time FCG is sent flying by the push attack 15 feet back. Orym attacks again for 18 more damage and pushes again. Orym then action surges and hits FCG again. FCG then yells that Orym will die alone, and then more damage is pushed onto FCG as Orym attacks again, but this time FCG saves the push. It is now FCG's turn, and FCG takes an attack on Orym with the saw and hits for 13 damage. FCG makes a wisdom saving throw of 20, and the rampage ends. FCG congratulates Fern and says that she did great and they are proud of her. FCG thanks Orym for dealing with them in this difficult time. Chet asks if they can touch Fern anymore. He touches on her knee and she lets it happen, and she doesn't hurt him with this. She's not made of pure flame, but her hair and her fingers are on fire, and there is a bit of crackling flame all around her. She says she needs to learn how to control it, and Mister is looking at her with bright, open eyes. He leaps into her arms and bursts into flames as well, a flaming monkey with his flaming mother. Can touching Fern hurt people? Imogen tries out, and Fern doesn't allow her to touch her, and she takes some damage. Imogen asks if Fern's shard woke up Ashen's shard. The party think they should hug or kiss, but Fern and Ashen think that's a bit much right now. They just shake hands with her new arms and his new arm. His arm lights up once again. He feels the feeling he did back in Whitestone. He can feel the stone all around him. He feels himself pushing through it, and like he emerges like a whale coming out of the water. He sees the land forming where all the elements are making and being made. Ashen grows a foot tall and rocks burst out of his arms and his shoulders. His eyes crack open vertically and are glowing yellow. Ashen feels complete for the first time in their life, and it's not just because of the new power, but because of the people around them. They see everyone look smaller. They need to try something. He falls forward and melts through the rock a little bit of the garden, but stops only about halfway through because after that it's just a treetop. They get back up, and the party says that they should go somewhere where there's more rocks to test things out, but Ashen and Fern both kind of want to hold on to some things and make sure they're a bit secret. Fern and Ashen begin to run down out of the garden into the main floors of the Ligament Manor. Nana Mori says that she's always known that Fern was meant for greatness, and the party feel better seeing their broken friends become whole. Here is where the session ends, but Matt informs the party, and mainly Taliesin and Ashley, that future uses of the forms will come with a penalty. This was just for narrative purposes, that there is no penalty today. And there you have it, episode 80. It was super fun. I very much enjoyed it. I liked everything that happened in this episode. As far as like the trials go, I thought communication was the best one, but trust was my second favorite one. I did like the honesty one, but I felt like some of the honesties that they were giving, or some of the truths they were giving, weren't as like deep as other ones. So like, but the communication one is the best one for sure. The blindfold is a brilliant idea, and then the the no doppelganger thing, which is something that I think a lot of people predicted would happen, and I made a video about it because I wanted to make a video about it before it happened, and thank God I was right. I finally got one right. I keep saying that. I got a few of them right before in the past, but finally got this one right. But anyway, I very much enjoyed this episode. The no doppelganger thing was a brilliant idea, in my opinion. It very much set them up for failure, if that makes sense. And they kind of succeeded at the end, where they all dropped the spells and sort of allowed everything to happen. Like, hey, you know what? Fuck it. Whatever happens, happens. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world here if someone breaks a tree, so screw it. We're going to drop all of our holding attacks or holding actions. We're dropping them all, and we're just going to throw the branches in. I thought that was a brilliant idea. So yeah, very much enjoyed this one. I also loved Fern and Ashen both getting some sort of form power up. It's kind of cool. I know someone a little while ago predicted that the shard would give like some sort of fire elemental power up, but for Ashen to also get like an earth elemental power up or form is kind of cool. So very excited to see where this goes. I'm hoping more party members get some sort of upgrade like this. I feel like Aurum desperately needs something. And maybe Chetney could use something too. But I do feel like more people need to get power-ups before they go to the moon. So we shall see. This was a very fun episode, and I will see you guys on Tuesday for whatever video I make next. Peace.